And a warm welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining me on today's episode of Conversations with Michael. Let's all take a deep breath as we settle in. In a lot of ways, you're lucky we're here today. Going through some interesting choices here. We had this presenting initially itself through the Ecamm Live software, and everything was all set up, had wonderful slides to show you and great pictures. And then their server went down 15 minutes before we were due to go online here. So I've created another episode here through the Zoom software that won't allow us to present the usual wonderful things that we do with Ecamm, but at least we're here presenting ourselves to all of you. What it doesn't do as well, because it's with Zoom, is I don't see any of your questions here online because you're not able to see it through the Zoom software. You're only able to watch this either through the YouTube link that's below this player or on our website, but that's going to work here for today. If you have questions, though, you can go to the YouTube link that's right below the screen here. And to the right, then there's a chat column there, and I will come on to that at the end of today's show and see if you have any questions for Michael there. I do need to warn you that those chats then stay up for future listeners that want to watch the recorded version of this. So it's just a note there. So thank you again for tuning in. We're streaming live here just outside our home, outside Portland, Oregon. And as always, we are streaming from our own home studio, which we had created some nice slides to show you exactly what this home studio looks like. So we'll save that for another time. Skip the tour part and move right into what we are enjoying here today. And what we're enjoying here today is how life truly does serve the master. And Coca and I just got back from our usual beautiful morning walk in some beautiful neighborhoods that just rich, filled with so many different flowers blooming, trees leafing out, and it's just glorious to slowly walk through these neighborhoods and just see nature in its full glory. And so, of course, we were running a little late, so we headed back home, went through a drive-through at Starbucks, and as we come up to the window there after you place your order, we were granted with a gift from the person that was in front of us who just wanted to buy our drinks for us. And we went, wow, really? That's really cool. And we took a deep breath and just smiled and laughed at each other of how this is how life serves the master. Of course, we couldn't help ourselves, so we paid for the person behind us as well. And we were just kind of curious, how many people didn't actually pay for their own drink, but ended up paying for everybody else's. But it's cool. It's cool. On the way home, while distracted a little bit by things going around, of course, I am not aware that I am going faster than the speed limit and get pulled over by a very nice police officer who just reminds me that he wants me to be safe and he's here to serve me and not going to give me a ticket, but just please slow down. And of course, Coca and I driving home just kind of laugh and go, wow, this is really cool how life has got your back when you are really taking ownership of being the master of your own creation. So let's take a deep breath there and tune into where this all goes, this whole presentation of the teachings of Michael. At least for those of you at the forefront of this change, we have really focused our attention on just you. That's not to ignore the next wave of all the younger people that will be really looking at what other choices are out there. But for now, we're really focused just on this particular group. And if you are new to Ancient Wings and to the teachings of Michael, of course, we invite you to check out our website. We've been serving an integrated human soul relationship since, 1995. Seems like forever, in a variety of heart-based programs and services. Our classes are all designed to help those who are ready to live life consciously while also embodying their own divine presence into their day-to-day reality. And once again, we are just truly honored to be of service to so many courageous people from all over different parts of the world. It's our joy to continue to be of service in that way. Of course, a lot of you also know that I am fond of the Crimson Circle and like working with so many of you who are also participating in what the Crimson Circle offers in their own unique workshops. Good friends of Jeff and Linda over there, and just like to honor what's happening on that part of this, as well as honor my own sovereignty and how I just kind of like to do my own thing as well. So it all works. Take a quick peek of what's coming up on the horizon before I turn this over to Michael. Those of you who aren't aware, we created a new private Facebook group called Masters Unplugged. We created this venue to help the new masters, that's you, support each other during this, well, rather intense time of transformation. And wouldn't all of you agree that this is really intense, the times we're living in? So on the first and third Wednesday of each month, we will stream a live session with Michael. It's going to be 20, 30-minute stream directly to that Facebook page. You need to request invitation to be able to join the group, and that allows me to kind of quickly tune into your energy. And 98% of everyone that requests gets invited to participate. But it's a nice place to go if you're not wanting to process emotions with each other. And that kind of is what we're moving out of. I know Facebook kind of relies on this whole notion that let's all connect with one another by processing our emotions through and with one another. That's not what we're doing here in this particular format and with Facebook. This is a place where we do feel it's like a sanctuary, where you don't even have to share anything specifically. It allows you to just sit there in the energy that so many others, we're at about 730 people who are now have joined that Facebook group, allows you to just breathe with the group to help rejuvenate, to help reconnect you to who you truly are. So initially it was set up that during each one of these bi-monthly live sessions with Michael, that we would, of course, interact with you as we do using the Zoom network over the years. But with that many people, it makes it impossible for us to really interact with that many people that might be also posting questions. So we were inspired to create yet another group to accommodate those of you who like a more intimate setting. In that setting, we call a master's circle. And that's something that it's not through Facebook. It's something you'll need to come to our website to check out. It's a safe and it's a much more intimate experience where each month now, on the first Monday of each month, starting at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we're going to work with up to 12 people for 90 minutes. And during this 90-minute session, all participants will receive a direct kind of mini reading from Michael, and we're inviting all participants in that group to also share their own wisdom in support of each other. This is a little different, where we're not just relying on Michael's presence, but we're trusting in our own insights. We're trusting in our own voice in support of one another. The cost of these sessions is only $49 a person. So if you're interested, it's of great value if you're hesitating about doing some of the private sessions, which I've limited over the years, but still offer them. It's great value for those of you that like that kind of intimate and direct input and a group situation where we get to be just what we have been offering for some time, supports to one another. So if you're interested, we recommend that you sign up soon. Take a breath there. We just finished a in-studio class, what we called our last abundance class. It was called Abundance Unplugged. We had a record number of people attending that particular class because it's an issue. It's an issue that can no longer be in your life as we move forward here. So some people wanted to take the workshop, but they, for whatever reason, weren't aware that it was being offered. So we've posted the recording of the video from that workshop. It was about a 3-hour workshop. And it's available as a video on demand where you have unlimited access for 90 days. You just need to go to our website once again and go up to the in-studio classes and look under the archive page, and there you'll find that class. It's being offered at a very reasonable price. And if you take that class, you're welcome to part 2 of Abundance Unplugged, which happens 90 days from part 1. And then we're done teaching about abundance, because abundance is simply the allowance of your own soul, of your own divine nature, of your own eternal self, of your own I am presence to be in your life with you. There is the abundance. So much has paid, well, so much of the abundance courses are so focused on improving your human experience, asking your human mind to do a better job of taking even more responsibility for creating what it perceives that you're lacking. And that's not what we're doing. We're moving beyond relying on the mind to choose for us. We're allowing our own soul to coexist with these conditioned parts of who we also are. Not an easy thing to do, is it? And that's why we enjoy working with all of you and bow before each and every one of you. Finally, the next episode of Conversations with Michael, which begins in June, I'm going to have my special guest, Pepper Lewis, joining me for that show, and we'll be using the Zoom network and simulcasting it through YouTube as well. If you want to be connected to the Zoom network and be able to ask questions, there's only a few spots left. We cut it off at 100 people because, again, it's almost impossible to interact with 100 questions. But if you'd like to experience it through the Zoom network, I'd sign up really soon. I think that's it's going to be full here in the next day or sooner. If you just enjoy watching that episode, of course, you're free to watch it on our website, or we always provide a link below this video where you can go to the YouTube page. And from that page, you can also interact with one another. So some of you know Pepper as being, well, simply an incredible channel for Gaia for many years. And she's gone through her own transition where she now isn't channeling for Gaia, but she's still offering as an embodied master her own perspective. And so I'm looking forward to having her as a special guest on my show. Let's take another deep breath as we now shift into the part of this show where I allow Mikiel to come forward even more. I remind any of you that if you do have questions, I will do my best to remember to, before he says goodbye to all of you at the end of his presentation, to also go online and check the YouTube page and see if there's any questions there for us. Indeed. Thank you, Robert. It does take a master to be able to go with the flow, no matter what comes up, and not allow the emotions that trigger their usual patterns of behavior, the worry, the fear, the anxiety, the stress, to notice that they are there, but they are not you. And that's where we are working with so many of you. We know who we are speaking to here today and have been speaking to through Robert for the last 30 years. We're speaking to all of you who chose to be at this forefront of a major shift in consciousness. You come at a time when you are literally not in the same time and space as the rest of your human family. Mass consciousness is a little behind all of you. It might take several decades before they are where you were 10, 20 years ago, to just wake up to the possibility that there is something more than just thinking about life. And so in my relationship with all of you, we've come now to a new place that I have looked forward to, and a place that all of you still wonder if you're really there. Most of you, if not all of you, accepted the invitation long ago to experience the presence of this eternal self that is also you, the I am presence in your physical body. You understood before you got here that this would be the most outrageous choice any human being could ever make. And of course, you heard us once again remind you that it's not as easy as you feel it to be when you're on our side, that once you're here, you're going to forget who you are. You're going to forget everything about me and the rest of your angelic friends. You're not going to remember anything about where you have been outside of this contained and confined time and space reality. So let's tap ourselves on the back, shall we? I mean, really, isn't this a good time to love ourselves, appreciate ourselves? Because we've been spending the last 2 or 3 decades in support of that initial and deliberate choice each of you made as a soul, by helping you to believe your human self that what you are feeling in your heart is actually real. That took a lot of trust, because you literally went through hell feeling in your heart that there's so much more than what you are accommodating as a human being through your childhood, through your teenage years, and now as an adult. As an adult, your mind isn't completely convinced that what we've been presenting isn't just another concept. And as a concept, your mind, in service to you, has been working overtime to try to figure out, what is this concept? And so when you present to your mind, this is a lot more than just being hopeful. It's certainly more than anything that is faith-based. We are not a faith-based organization or teachers. We knew that you would require, you would demand that there also be tangible evidence that this presence is actually real. To your mind, that would mean that we provide some kind of magic show. We would turn some bush into a big flame. We would present ourselves in a variety of ways that you see perhaps some of the superheroes in your movies today. But of course, we are never going to do that. We are never going to do that. And so our teaching has been to make it real. You must go back to your heart and trust it completely. The sacred space within this heart that allows you to perceive outside of this controlled and contained reality what you're hoping to see inside a controlled, contained, and fear-based reality. And that's where we are now, is you have taken ownership of a new perception. You've taken ownership of a new relationship within yourself. You've taken ownership of you being both the human and being okay with what the human is. It is conditioned to be what it is. You have stopped pushing your humanity to become more than that. And that has allowed your humanness, contrary to how your mind understands any of this, to now expand. Without pushing it to become more than what it is, you end up becoming that improved version. But the expansion doesn't originate from the human identity. The expansion comes because you have allowed what is already free, what is already enlightened, to be here with you. And that again is the most difficult choice any human being could ever make. Because the only way that that becomes real is if you human up and decide that being vulnerable is an actual attribute. Your vulnerability, which means you have opened yourselves wide open to a relationship with you, that unconditional part, that part that's already free, to also be here with you. Now, a lot of you aren't giving voice to this other part yet. A lot of you have days where sometimes you feel connected, sometimes you don't. But you haven't turned your back on always throughout your day reaffirming, yes, yes, I'm going to allow this. And the only way that integration happens more gracefully, we're not sure that a human has ever experienced a completely graceful integration with their own I am presence. We haven't seen one yet. If any of you raise your hand and say, I'd like to be the first that can do that, then all of our blessings to you, dear one. But we have yet to see that. But if you want this to become tangible, real, then you have to also allow that there are parts in your own human identity that have been pretending to be you. And are you okay with that? Can you accept that your mind, from a place of duty to you, to your safety, has been pretending to be you? And because it's been pretending to be you, do you also not feel the mind has created quite a few emotions that are completely stressed out? It is working overtime, believing that its service to you is to represent you. And it knows that it has failed you. And so there's those other emotions that are all connected to the shame, to the blame, to the self-judgment. Your mind knows that it wasn't designed, nor is it qualified or equipped to be the master. It's not possible for your mind to experience enlightenment by itself. And so, for all of you to allow yourself to coexist with a variety of human attributes that aren't pretending to be you. You see, our support to you now is for you really to get comfortable living alongside of unauthentic versions of you. Oh, I know there's this great push to be the authentic human. But can we just skip that part because we see it as a major distraction? Can you just move into allowing the unauthentic versions of you who did their best without the soul being present? Can we allow them now to just be as they are, conditioned to be just what they are? Can we allow this human body that so many of you yearn to instantly transform into a light body? Can you allow the human body, this carbon-based body, not to be you, but give it the freedom to be it? Let it go just to be what it is. Allow the body to be what it is. If you weren't inside the body's capable of managing itself quite well. We move into this new place where you allow this mind and all the thoughts that just continuously, well, you hear them 24/7. You hear them the moment you wake up in the middle of the night. It's almost as if there's not a moment of peace. It's like an AM radio station that no one has turned off. And even when you try to unplug it, it just keeps playing the same old songs that you've heard so many times before, and you're just sick of listening to them. Can we just allow the mind to do what it does? It repeats itself over and over again. That's how your mind knows itself, by repeating itself over and over again. Can we just allow the mind to repeat itself without pushing against it, without trying to shut it up, without trying to find that empty space in the mind. There is no empty space in the mind. The mind knows itself by repeating itself. That's the true nature of a conditioned mind. That is not the true nature of your divine mind, but it is what's happening in this brain. Take a breath there. And of course, the things that give excitement to what the mind keeps repeating, because that's how it knows itself, is by moving energy, emotions. It makes repeating itself less boring. And so it keeps the energy moving in this repetition, using emotions to create excitement, to generate something new, since it knows it's just repeating itself, but the emotions make it a little more exciting, creating drama, creating distractions. But are we now at this place where we can just allow, knowing that the emotions are in service to a mind that is only capable of repeating itself, can we just be okay with that so that we can live alongside of it? So that they can trust that when you invoke this incredible presence into the body and your mind with all these emotions, that there is kind of peace there, not exactly the peace you're hoping for, the quiet mind and no emotions and 100% consciousness. We'll get there. We'll get there, because eventually what happens in this coexistence with these parts of you that have been doing actually not such a bad job, have they really, of pretending that they're you? They did the best they could with the material they had. The script that they've been working with is limited to your past. They did a pretty good job, given that the script that they are working with is limited to just this lifetime. Let's take a breath there. Because now we come to this new place when we're just okay with the parts that have been pretending to be you. You've been struggling with that for so long. How could I be authentic if I'm still speaking on behalf, if I'm channeling for my conditioned mind, if I'm still reacting to these emotions? Well, that in relationship to being authentic is true. If it's going to be an authentic human soul relationship, then in that relationship, you are being true to yourself. When you truly allow your soul to be living alongside and at times at the forefront of this human experience. And so we come to this new place that's almost too good to be true. We've created a title for it. Are any of you imagining what that is? We are sharing it with you telepathically. Do you get it? It's called You're Done. You're done. And this would be a really good time for some of those fireworks in the background and people dancing to some good reggae music. Oh, I'm sorry, Robert, you're not into reggae. So what is he into? He, oh, okay, well, not share that. So just to some good music, some really good, well, too bad. I happen to love reggae music. It's heart-centered, without ingesting, you know what I'm talking about, but it really does keep the rhythm going. And now the mind's going to ask while you're dancing and celebrating you're done, your mind's going to ask that parts that's been pretending to be you, done with what? Or it's saying to all of you, kind of horrified, what have I done to deserve this? Because if you're done, that kind of sounds to that part that's been pretending to be you that now it's unemployed. What's it going to do if you're done? So listen up, mind. This is where we return to our basic truth. You, mind, beloved mind, are not responsible for this human experience, in particular for this state of enlightenment. Your new job, your service to us is you simply allow the passion of the soul to now to coexist with you. So we get the deal with the mind. It doesn't trust. And so, of course, it's not going to allow initially. But if it allows a little bit, because it starts hearing that voice through others that are proclaimed to be channels or just moving beyond channeling and offering a authentic voice for who they also are, if that is what it is that the mind hears and it sees you listening to us, go into a place where there's less conflict between you and your own mind, it's kind of hard to resist to taste just a little bit of that soul, the passion of the soul in your body with this mind. And each time it does, and all of you, if you kept the journal of each time that you have allowed this, you could go back over the last several decades and you'd have quite a story right there. But every time you've done this, and the reason you are at where you are today is your mind has developed, contrary to its conditioning, a degree of trust. Because there has been no evidence. There has never been a tangible experience for your mind to feel that at any time your soul has said to your mind, get lost, get out of my captain's chair. I'm now the captain sitting here. Now that I'm here, I'm taking control of this life. I'm now the owner of this life. I don't need you anymore. It hasn't heard any of that. What it has heard over and over and over again is an invitation to partner up, to coexist, to live alongside, to develop a mutually respectful partnership, relationship. All those words trigger trust issues for the mind. It's heard it before from other human beings, and it's seen how other human beings don't honor those words. But with your soul, it has never, ever been betrayed. And so it sees that it ends up being the one that looks kind of foolish by saying no, thank you. When your soul said to your mind, if I am here with you consciously and you allow me to be present with you, you have my permission to blame me for everything. Go ahead. Blame me for everything. I, in this relationship with you, invite you to step out of the role that you've been playing, feeling responsible for this human experience. Whatever happens in this human experience, put it on me and let me take care of it. Wow. Wow. Are we really done? Is this kind of too good to be true stuff in relationship with your soul? Allowing a very vulnerable state to actually feel like the most empowered choice you could make. It takes a lot of trust to allow yourself now in relationship with this soul presence to be doing what? Be trying to change the world? To working with others, certainly, who have asked for support and help, that we serve without any conditions, except you cannot feed upon us in service to any of you. That's your new role, is to simply be in relationship with both the part that's conditioned and the part that's not. You are both. You identify yourself with being both. You're okay being with the part that's been pretending to be you for most of your life. And you're okay with being in relationship with a part of you that only would come in if you allowed it. If you allowed it. If we're done pushing against, resisting, trying to make this better, then you're comfortable not having all the conditioned filters in front of you in the name of your safety. We must be there. If you're saying on one hand, bring it on and download it into your human experiences, this incredible presence, your human soul relationship, the soul itself diving right into this body with you? Or did you keep it compartmentalized inside you and it's actually coming out? Either way you perceive it, you can't bring these conditioned filters with you where we're going now. They are fear-based. They do not trust life. You can't invoke these incredible energies to be of service to you and have them then co-create inside of and merged with all these fear-based filters. They'll just cause even more havoc in your life. Allowing them is indeed a very vulnerable state. And it is a conscious choice to become wide open to all the potentials, all the possibilities, and all the energies that are here to do what? They are here to serve you. That is God. That is how Spirit wants to be in relationship with you. If you're not finding that to be your truth in other teachings, then take a deep breath and apply this truth to your life and see how this truth does indeed transcend the relationship you have to the beauty of this planet, transcend the relationship you have to the beauty of every other human being on this planet whose time just might not be now. To wake up. So, these energies indeed are here to serve you. Let's take another breath. So we're going to ask Robert here to come back in and see if we indeed do have a few questions leading up to this. And we see we're good to go on that front. So we'll return to our dialogue here with you. Yes. So if you've been following our teachings, no doubt you have already been introduced to the teachings of humanity. And this included, among other things, the art of trying. And we are bringing this up now because where we are now, turning the page, where we are now when we say, you're done, you must be done with trying. It is a mental disease, trying. This is how the vast majority of human beings create their reality. They try to force life to respond to their own wants and desires. You hear this story every day. I got to where I am today because of a lot of hard work, setting goals and focusing on my achievements and accomplishments. And in that energy, trying acts like an opiate for your mind. It feeds on this process, for it knows no other way. Until now. Until now. Being is now the new you. Being is now the new you. And it's time for you, each of you, to allow the parts that have been pretending to be you. So we need to pause here for a moment. Thank you. Being now is the new you, and being now is done with doing. Being now is done with doing. It's no longer about creating a safe space outside yourself. It is not. Your life becomes your own sacred reality. It's not about having an established retirement plan in place. Being is consciousness in action, and it has no need for goals. It's not about getting the best coverage from your health insurance plan. The presence of your consciousness will maintain the health and well-being of your body. Now, if you're lacking anything in your life, your mind created that lack. We've spent this last few decades in preparation for where you are at now. Where you are at now. You realize now that not being free requires a lot of energy, a lot of work. Not being free requires a lot of work, a lot of maintenance. Not allowing life to serve you is exhausting, and it will continue to feel exhausting if you are also not allowing these parts that have been pretending to be you to be in relationship with the new you, the multifaceted you. You see, when you're in that kind of relationship with the parts that have been pretending to be you, then it's not as difficult as it once was to be in relationship with mass consciousness. For you will look at mass consciousness with the eyes of spirit, with the eyes of Christ consciousness, and you will have compassion. For you know what it's like living alongside parts of you that have been pretending to be you. You know all the games involved, you know the struggles, you know the challenges. Here you are now in a very different relationship, a very different relationship that has you being able to develop a relationship with these parts that have been pretending to be you and this earth that allows you to be consciousness in action, which is consciousness that enjoys a passion for change, a passion for living life, a passion for simply being consciousness. Let's take a deep breath there. So, what does this require each of you to become? You must become the master observer. You must become the master observer of the parts that have been pretending to be you. You're now willing to witness life unfold right in front of your eyes because you literally feel the benefits from allowing the parts that have been pretending to be you to coexist with you allows you to also coexist with the rest of humanity in service to your love for life, beginning with you. We're not talking about a perfected state of being in this relationship. It is a messy relationship. It is an awkward relationship. It's why, dear ones, you are here. Because it was a messy relationship. It was an awkward relationship before Earth was even created. How do we interact with complete opposites of ourselves? You are very much in the very middle of that very dilemma. And you're offering a solution, not only to how it impacts your own personal relationship with the parts of you that have been pretending to be you in relationship to the rest of humanity that hasn't quite waken up yet, but in your own relationship as a creator to the rest of life. So when we say to you, you are both formless and this form, you understand that in this new relationship. You are identified by a name, and you are also nameless. You can feel that in your own heart. You can feel the truth of that in your own heart. You are boundless, and you also coexist within this time and space. In the past, some of you would have said, wow, man. And now we are encouraging you to proclaim, well, of course, I am that. I am. I am the form and I am formless. I am the name and I am nameless. I have been and am. These parts have been pretending to be me, and I am the true self that I also am. In this way, we transcend the limitations of a polarized, dualistic system of reality by allowing it all to be what it is. And it continues to be my joy to serve each of you in this very unique way. It continues to be my joy to be a friend, a partner, a teacher, and yet all those roles are transcending as we go. Let's take a breath here again. You have invoked and you have asked for your freedom. Congratulations. It's here. It's now inside of you. And it's capable and willing to coexist with the parts of you that don't feel free. Are you okay with that? Or must it be one or the other? Because mass consciousness and most of creation only knows about one or the other. It's either light or dark. We move into a very different place, unfamiliar place, but a place that has always been inside of all of creation. For those who are curious to discover it. Yes, courageous. Yes, all the other attributes, but really, are you just wondering? What came with me when I left the containment of the kingdom? When I left the confinement of the kingdom? What came with me? And what am I discovering has always been within me here in this human experience? And in this human experience, am I simply allowing who I also am to experience what they also tasted long ago in a most delicious, slowed down version? Could it be that you are really here as an extension of this eternal self, the I am presence? Because when you discovered your own divinity before Earth was even created, you forgot about the foreplay. You missed the foreplay. Could it be that from your divine perspective, that each lifetime that you've lived here on Earth was just supposed to be experiencing the foreplay before enlightenment, before the ecstatic reunion with the great I am within? Could everything else just be a lot of drama? Are we done, dear ones? We will continue to serve wherever you are at. If in your heart you're ready to own, I'm done with the trying part, I'm done with the processing emotions part, and I'm okay having a relationship with the parts that have been pretending to be me. I'm okay with all that. I didn't realize this was just foreplay that we've called spiritual for whatever reason and made foreplay into something less than sacred. Are you ready now to taste divine foreplay unfolding with all this drama around you? It is what it is. It is what it is. And so our time here with you today, for me as Mikiel, has been delicious. And can you relate to the deliciousness of this moment as also being sacred? Are you willing to feel the freedom to experience the deliciousness of just being as being your birthright, as being where you finally taste peace within? Indeed. All of my blessings, dear ones.